Hello, my name's Joe Brown. I'm a sports physiotherapist and owner of Swim Cornwall. These are our resistance training bands. Resistance training bands are really good because the further away from the anchor point you stand, the more resistance goes through the cord, and it saves you having a rack of weights in your living room. You get an awful lot of exercise out of one piece of equipment. They've got a loop at one end that you can loop over a suitable anchor point. Make sure the anchor point's solid and it's not going to come away. They've got the midsection here, the bungee cords. Run your hands over them, just make sure there's no nicks or tears in them. And you've got the handles at the end, make sure they're clipped in properly to the hooks. We're going to wear some safety eye goggles here, just so nothing comes back and hits you in the face. And then we're good to go. So we're recreating a catch position here. You're dropping your wrist, hands pointing towards the floor, and engaging the tension on the cord. Okay, we're working on the catch position today. We've got a nice low body position, flat back, arms out in front, and the key points are you're going to keep your fingers pointing towards the floor, keep your elbows high as you bring those cords back. This is good for working on technique. We're working on the drop wrist, and we're working on keeping those elbows nice and high as we load the resistance band. There. Try and keep your body low, squat, back flat. The way we'd build up the session here is we'd work on some technique. You can do one hand after the other. Go for a minute. Both hands together. Go for a minute. And we're going from the catch position to halfway. Try to feel like you're pulling from under your arms, keeping your elbows high, using those lats. We're working on the push position, so we've got our shoulders back, pull our shoulder blades together, and we're working through the last part of the swim stroke there. Nice low body position. This is really good for strengthening up the triceps and your back muscles, holding a good flat body position. So we're working on the recovery part of the swim stroke here, those muscles that feel real tired once you've been putting in the distance. The idea is that we're working our back muscles, the back of our deltoid, and we're trying to raise our hands up into a nice dive position at the top of the stroke, which simulates your catch just before you enter the water. This is the first of our rotator cuff strengthening exercises. We're going to be working on internal rotation at the shoulder joint. So the key points are, you're going to keep your shoulder back, don't let your shoulder dip forward during the exercise. We'll start off with a bit of tension on the cord, elbow by your side. We're going to rotate your hand in towards your tummy without letting this shoulder dip in. We don't want that to happen. The exercise shouldn't hurt, and ideally we want to be working to fatigue, so you feel like the muscles have had a good workout. Obviously, the further away from the anchor point I stand, the harder the exercise becomes. As you start to get stronger, you could move back towards the anchor point, double up on the handles, and use both cords to apply more resistance. You can make the technique a bit easier if you put a towel under your elbow. If you're finding that your elbow is drifting away from your side, do keep that shoulder pulled back when you're working that cord inwards. This exercise strengthens the back of the shoulder, around the shoulder blade and your upper back, and works your rotator cuff muscles. So you start off with a bit of tension on the cord. You're going to bring those shoulders back. Keep those shoulders nice and square. You're going to pull with increasing resistance down towards your hip. Do not let your shoulder dip forward during the operation. You've got to keep your shoulder pinned backwards. If you want to work both sides, grab the other handle, can work both sides down towards your hips. As you're getting stronger, you can also double up with these resistance bands. Use both bands to come down. That applies a lot of resistance as your strength starts to increase over the training program. This exercise works on the rotator cuff muscles situated behind the shoulder joint. We're going to start off with our elbow by our side, shoulders nice and square. You don't want to be dipping your shoulder into the exercise, and you don't want to be twisting to achieve the movement. The movement comes from rotating at your shoulder. Got a wee bit of tension on the cord here, starting off with our hand sort of at level with midline, and we're going to start moving our arm out towards the side. This is probably the most difficult exercise when it comes to strengthening up your rotator cuff muscles. And to start off with, it doesn't matter how much movement you get, we just want to get the movement working. As you progress through the exercise, you can stand a bit further away from the anchor point, get more tension on the cord, and you can start going through a greater range of movement. If you're struggling to keep your elbow by your side, grab a rolled up towel, pop that into there. It gives you something to hold on to while you're doing the exercises. Again, the idea of these exercises is for them not to hurt, but you can work to fatigue, so you can feel that the muscles had enough after doing a number of repetitions.